Hi, welcome to The Let Out, the official Legendary podcast. Here, every week, we sit down with the departing house on HBO Max's Legendary and chat about what happened, what probably should have happened, and everything you need to know about the house's journey onto the show. I'm your host, Mikelle Street, a writer, an editor, and someone who has long been interested in all things ballroom. I started out as a high schooler, personally obsessed with watching ballroom videos on YouTube. Once I made it to New York City, I attended every ball that I could, making friends inside this community. Along the way, I realized that so much of the legacy is an oral history, passed from legend to legend. A significant part of my work today is capturing those stories so ballroom is honored and remembered as the cultural phenomenon it is. And now, you're invited to join me. Every week, here at The Let Out, we will talk to the latest eliminated house from season 2 of Legendary, and maybe a few special guests. We hope to get into a little tea, maybe throw a little shade, and even get into the legacies behind the houses and the house members we've seen on screen. Now look, I'm no one's professor, but I hope that every time you sit down and listen to an episode, or 3, that you'll walk away having learned something about this community and the people that inhabit it. This week, since the first 3 episodes of the season dropped, we're doing 3 mini-sodes of the podcast that are perfect for binging. But in the future, expect episodes that are a little shadier and a lot meatier. But enough housekeeping, let's get into it. On the very first episode of Legendary Season 2, we saw 5 houses compete in a grand march. Sadly, the iconic house of Chanel was eliminated. Here today, for you, for me, for all of us, is the charismatic, the legendary, butch queen Vogue Fem diva, Cookie Chanel.
Baby, we are here, we are queer, we're not going nowhere.
Boom, guess who stepped in the room? Move out the way and let a real bitch know. Oh, well, Chanel.
Hey Cookie, welcome to The Let Out.
Hello, how is everybody doing? The legendary Cookie is here. What's going on?
Okay, so we are here to talk about Legendary and the House of Chanel's appearance on Legendary, which I just watched again, and so I have some questions about the performance. It's a little direct, but I want to start with, on the show, the House of Chanel, you guys came, you guys were one of the oldest houses, but you came with 3 legends, and you were the first out. So can you tell me how that happened?
To be honest with you, I don't know how that happened. I was just as surprised when it happened. We were rehearsing, we were up, we were really on it. I do know one of the judges, before we even moved from the back as we were getting onto the floor, was very negative with some comments. The judge at the very beginning. LaRoche, I believe that's his name.
It's Law, yes.
Oh, Law? Oh, Law. Well, yeah, Law. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't being funny.
I get it. But I mean, the reality is that she is an opinionated judge.
Yeah, she is. Well, but when you're judging though any competition, if you don't know what talent is on the floor, you give the talent a chance to to perform for you before you have your comments.
Yeah.
It was negativity from the door. We were just standing back there, and you could just kind of hear the negative comments. So it was kind of okay now.
But how did you feel after performance? Did you guys feel a lot different than the critique that you got from all the judges?
I don't think that our performance matched what they said. I'll say that. I don't think it matched what they said.
I will say that they were, quite uniform in their responses. And I'm not going to lie, I just saw a lot of the things that they were seeing. But, one thing that I think is important to say here is that, competing on Legendary is not like walking a ball.
Yes, that is true. That is definitely. At a ball, you can you just go in. Just, there's no choreography. There's no way to get here or there. You perform.
So I want to talk a little bit about the house in general. Like I said before, Chanel was one of the older houses from the scene.
Yes, we started in 1976.
See, the Ballroom started as a whole, I feel like, in 73. So it was like one of the first girls.
We're definitely one of the first houses with Ebony.
Can you talk to me a little bit about, how things got started, what you know from that origin story and some key figures and stuff like that?
RR, the icon pioneering RR Chanel, the runway villain, started the house because he wanted to be in the House of Dupree, and Paris denied him because he didn't win the Grand Prize trophy. At that time, there were around maybe 2 or a few balls a year. I can't really tell you.
Yeah, it was like 3 balls a year.
Yeah, winning, it was a lot harder back then. So Paris denied him. He told him because he didn't have any grand prizes, he couldn't come to the house. So RR started his own house. He felt like, okay, if y'all are not going to accept me into y'all, I'm going to start my own, and then we'll compete from there.
And there's, he's built a legacy for himself, not only as his own, self, right?
Yes, he's built a legacy for himself as well as for his house.
Right.
He built a legacy for both.
So I want to talk a little bit about how you got into Ballroom and specifically this house. But before, there are a lot of houses with fashion brand names. You think about Miyake Mugler, you think about Saint Laurent, and also Chanel.
Right.
And I've always heard this story and rumor that there was this situation between the brand and the house. And I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yes, okay. Okay, so I heard it too. We got to get RR so we can verify. However, the tale has been told to me from house members as well. So as I was coming up and from people. So I'm assuming it will be true, but I think they read a letter at a ball, or something like that.
Yeah.
To stop using the name or something.
I've always been told that essentially the House of Chanel was in operation, and then the brand Chanel sent a letter saying you guys are not a part of our, you're not associated with us. And if you continue to use this name, we will sue. And that a letter was read, and that was why the official name of the Ballroom house isn't it Chanel International?
No, it's the iconic House of Chanel International, yes.
From my understanding, that change was made to sort of abide by that sort of law. But I've always found it to be really interesting, sort of the relationship between the brands and the house. Last thing about the house in general, I wanted to ask a little bit about sort of, obviously, RR Chanel was known for runway and I think a little for fashion, but I wanted to know if sort of in the beginning or even today, was the house known for specific categories?
Everyone knows the House of Chanel as being the doll house. Mm-hmm. So we've always had the dolls, the beauties, the Didi's, the Tempresses. So we have beauties. We have face women. A lot of our women are face and realness women. So we're known for face and realness. Mm. Everybody knows it's the doll house. We're not going to go. Everyone knows the House of Chanel is the doll house, period. A lot of the dolls originated here. A lot of the dolls that are in other houses originated here.
So I want to talk a little bit specifically about how you came to Ballroom and how you came to the House of Chanel. So can you talk to me a little bit about that?
So how I came to I was introduced to Ballroom through one of my best friends, Robert. Mm-hmm. He was a prodigy at the time. He walked runners with a twist. He took me to a ball, and the first battle I saw, I walked in, and Kima and Shadira were already headed to a battle. So I walked into hair swinging all over the place, and I'm like, okay, where are we? What's going on? All right, where we at? So after that, I started going to, the first Fridays with him.
Is this in Philly? You said first Fridays.
Yes, this is in Philly, yes. And my first category was actually runway. And when I tell you, I used to walk Virgin Runway in Philly, and Michi, the icon Michi Landren, I love him dearly, would chop me every time. When I say every time, Michi chopped me every time. He said, no, girl, not today. Nope, 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 nope. From the back, I was like, okay, damn, I either need to get it together or I need to try something else. And I always danced. So I knew how to Vogue. I just never, I just never Vogue. Mm-hmm. So one day they were doing Virgin Performance, and one of my friends, India, she pushed me out there and was like, girl, get your behind out there. You going to Vogue. So I went out there and Vogued, and I walked Virgin Performance, and I ended up winning my first ball without doing a dip. And the crazy part is, I didn't even know how to dip. That's why I didn't want to walk.
That's why you didn't do it.
That's why I didn't want to walk, okay? So she pushed me out there, so I had to do the best I could. So I was catwalking, and I was just moving around, and I ended up winning Virgin Performance. Mm-hmm. So from there, I was like, okay, you know what? I got to do something. Okay, people liked it. Okay, so now I got to learn how to fall to the ground. I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to dip. So once I finally figured out my dip, I was like, okay, I got it. So I started walking Virgin Performance in different cities. Like after Philly, I, started playing Baltimore and DC. And DC was kind of like one of my first ballroom highlights. I walked Virgin Performance. I wore all pink. And Jack and Selvin was living for me on the mic. Like, they were fueling me. And I'm like, okay, so this is what it's like at a really, really big ball. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm kind of liking this.
Do you remember what ball that was?
That was the DC Awards ball in 2006 or 2007.
Yeah, so that's the other thing for people who don't know, right? Like, one thing that you're sort of mentioning, right, is traveling is important if you want to raise your profile.
Yes. Like, traveling is really important if you want to make your name. And I like to travel, so ballroom was my excuse to travel. So I started walking balls when I was when I was about 17, maybe. And from there, it just kind of took off. So when I first came out at that DC Awards ball, after that, Sheldon came up to me and said, you know what? If you keep practicing, you're going to be the next big thing. And I'm like, okay. And I watched Sheldon perform. And I watched him perform. I'm like, oh, this is coming from him? Because he just kind of like tore this up. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I started practicing more, and I just started walking Butch Queen Vogue Fem more. I would go to New York a lot. I stayed in Baltimore. I would go to DC a lot, the Carolinas. So I just started traveling on the East Coast.
Do you remember any, like, obviously you were talking about the DC Awards ball, and that was a moment for you. And also for people who don't know, different regions, different cities do awards balls where they award of the years and different things to sort of recognize different people within the community.
Right.
And so you sort of traveling and doing all that stuff. Do you remember, because you're a legend now, and I want to get to that in a second, but do you remember a moment that you had that you were like, this is it? I am going to be that big thing he told me I was going to be, like...
Yes, I do. So, my first time winning an of the year, okay, I wasn't there when they announced that I won. So me and my best friend who walks he used to walk Realness. His name is Cash Balenciaga. He walks All American Runway right now. But we got to the ball and everybody's like, oh, congratulations. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm not thinking. I'm like, well, what are they congratulating me for? And when I get to my house table and they're like, okay, of the year. I'm like, oh, shoot, all right. I said, oh, I am here. I said, oh, no, we're really going to do it.
Yeah.
So from there, I started walking more. But I had to be dramatic, though. Like, I had to make sure myself was dramatic, because when I first came out, everybody used to say, oh, you're going to be the next Malachi. You're going to be the next Malachi. And I love Malachi. I love him down. But I just didn't want to be compared to anyone. Like, I wanted to be my own person. So Malachi was largely soft and cunt, which is the softer, more of the softer Vogue. And I decided to stay strictly dramatic.
Right.
And because I was a big boy, it was harder coming in. Like, as a big boy in ballroom, you have to be good. It's easier for the skinnier people, not to say it like that, but it's just the reality.
Right.
Like, if you're a big boy in ballroom or a big female or whatever your gender is, you have to be good. That's just the reality of it. So I wanted to make sure I was good. So they used to try to make me walk big boy performance, but I never wanted to walk big boy performance. I beat all the big boys. Like, I beat all of the big boys, so there was no reason for me to keep walking big boy performance. I wanted to battle the Vogue Femmes. I said, okay, I'm coming into this territory. And once I got there, I just started tearing it up.
That's one thing to sort of note about, for people who don't know ballroom, is that, like, there's so many categories within categories. So it's like Butch Queen Vogue Femme is this, large categories. But, like, at one point you would have big boys performance. You would have, wasn't there like one for tall people? Was it tall boys?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And, like, obviously they don't do it anymore. But, there's so many, I've been to a ball where, this isn't Vogue Femme, obviously, but this is just performance in general, where I went to a ball, I think it was 2 years ago, it was like trans man's performance, which I had never heard of for a ball.
It depends on what city or what region you're in. Like, some cities and some regions used to have categories. When I first came out, they used to have, for the performance category, trans man, or that was one of the categories. So it would be broken down like the big boys, like, then they would have trans man performance, the soft versus dramatic. So that's kind of like how they used to break it down for the most part.
It's interesting as well, right? Because dramatics is the popular version now. But, like, back in the day, I would assume, like, when you were coming up, it was soft and cunt. Like, everybody wanted to be like Sanaya and the girls.
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, I agree. Now, I think dramatics has become more popular now that ballroom has gotten more mainstream.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't know what ballroom is. People who are in ballroom, more than likely, even a dramatic girl battling a softer cunt girl nowadays in ballroom, it depends on who it is or how good they are, but the dramatics got to really vogue to beat like a softer cunt person.
Well, because it's like there's so much dramatics now, right?
Right. They all want a show. Everybody's just looking for a dip in the show,
Right.
literally. A dip in the show.
Right.
They want to see a dip, a spin, and that's it.
So I don't want to keep sort of belaboring that point, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about sort of your road to becoming legend. But before we get into that, can you just explain for the listeners a little bit about like what you define a legend as within the community?
Well, I define a legend as someone who's mastered their categories, someone who makes a statement. When you see that person, it's like, oh, okay, such and such is here. Oh, okay, this category going to be nice because such and such is here. I think we all do it in a way, but everybody kind of peeks the room like, okay. Like, oh, I see who's here.
I've written a little bit about this, but some people will say, like, it's usually somebody who's been around for 10 years walking that category.
Yeah, so the time frame to be legend is 10 years. However, you can get it within 5 to 6, depending on your impact.
Right. Right.
So someone like Ronaldo or Leomi or someone like that, like, or Pony or Deshaun, like, they would be prone to get it sooner because they were impactful in the category.
Right. They helped to shape the category.
Yeah, especially the current category.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, you mentioned this before and I want to go back. Of the years, it's sort of an annual version of this, right? So
yes.
You're dominating your category for that region that year.
Basically, yeah. So it's a calendar year, basically. Within that calendar year, the person who's won the most or made the most impact usually wins the other year. I mean, it's not always like that. It's supposed to be like that. Allegedly. But yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's girlfriend's panel.
Yeah, of course. It's like that a lot.
But I wanted to sort of ask you about becoming a legend, whether that was something you sort of set out to do or whether it just happened to you.
When I started voguing, I didn't even think they would let me through. I'll lie to you not. I didn't even think they would let my fat ass through, period. So, I don't know. Like, in the beginning, it's hard. Like I said, I didn't want to become a legend. I didn't want to do it. I didn't think they would even let me through, but I got through. And when I got through, they really liked it. I was winning and like sitting people and making it to the last battle, or I was making an impact every time I walked. And it was like, okay, like the big girl's here, and I just made my name. I didn't want to walk big boy performance because, again, like I said, I beat all of the big boys. I wanted to walk Vogue Fem because I wanted to prove to them, to the skinny girls, that y'all not the only ones that can do it. Okay, I know Malachi showed y'all, and he showed y'all very well. But let me show y'all. Let's show y'all how we're gonna do this from now on.
We talked about sort of your trajectory on the floor, but can you talk to me about like how you came to the House of Chanel and what the house has come to mean to you personally?
Yeah. So my first house was Prestige. I was at Prestige for about a year, and then I ended up leaving Prestige, and I went to Chanel. My gay mother at the time, Japan Chanel, she made sure, she was one of the people who brought me to the house, and I knew Japan because Japan was walking runway. Japan had a name for himself, more of a name for himself at the time, but we just kind of clicked, and that became my mother. So she introduced me to the House of Chanel, and from there, that was it. I got in through the Baltimore chapter, and then literally 3 weeks after I got in the house in at the beginning of 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And literally 3 weeks after I got in the house, they shut the entire Baltimore chapter down. So I'm like, okay. So my mom called me listen, daughter, we just want to know, what are you doing? Are you leaving or are you on board? I was like, no, I mean, I just got here. I ain't even I'm fine. Let me make my name. Let me walk first.
Right.
So I've been to Chanel since. I love the House of Chanel. I've been in school the entire time to make sure I'm good. As far as effects-wise, if I needed anything, they would always come through. I love my house. I literally love my house. I love my father. Fred has been one of the best fathers. I love RR. I remember when I first met RR, I said something and he turned around oh, you're very disrespectful. He checked me very quickly. And ever since then, we've had a wonderful, wonderful relationship. All it took was one time to check me.
Do you think that was what sort of made you realize, no, this is a family, because he can, check me in that way, but also look out for me?
Yeah.
Coming into Legendary, what did you think about the other houses?
What do you mean, like, what did I'm...
You knew the other houses, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
you knew the
yeah.
girls who was there. And did you have any first impressions? Was you like, that girl's about to go home? Or were you...
To be honest with you, I'm not really of a shady mindset like that.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, okay, everybody's here. Like, this is going to be fun. Like, in my head, that's where I was with it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and be shady and say, oh, these girls, because that's just not me. To be honest with you, I saw a lot of people there that I enjoy watching perform. So if anything, I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting because there were a lot of good performers on season 2.
I know you didn't do the redemption battle. Do you think things would have went differently if you had...
I was so mad at myself. I said I should have done that. But again, Angel did very well. So again, a ballroom battle and a TV battle are two different things.
Right.
So I can't really say it would have went differently. I mean, I think if the judges or if certain people knew more of what to look for, I think it would have went different instead of the show.
Right. Yeah,
I think it was the dramatics that captivated him more because I actually watched them perform and I would have given it to Angel. Like, if I was judging a ball and if Angel wasn't in my house and I was watching the battle, not even because Angel was Angel, but I would have given it to Angel.
I know you said you're not a shady type, but even from a judging perspective, having seen the other houses, who do you think is going to get the chop next?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. And it's not that I'm a shady set. It was really so in terms, like, because again, I walk Butch Queen Vogue Fem. Of course I have to be a shady set. Like, let's not get this twisted. It's not that I'm not a shady set. I walk one of the more popular categories.
The shadiest category.
Yeah, right. But even one of the more... the shade is all in your performance. So you cannot not be shady and be a legend or, like, make a name for yourself in Vogue Fem. That's just the reality.
This is going to be my last question. I would love to hear from you what you think, like, Legendary and this type of attention will provide for the community, or will it change things, or...
I just want the attention to be the correct attention on Ballroom. I don't want... Don't appropriate the culture. If you want to be a part of the culture, or if you want to experience it, experience it. You get what I'm saying? But don't just take it and try to, like, make it what you wanted to make it, or put, like, no. If you're going to be a part of the culture, appreciate the culture.
Yeah.
Appreciate the culture. If you're going to broadcast the culture, broadcast it the correct way. That's what I want, in my opinion.
Thank you so, so much, Cookie. I could literally go on talking to you forever, but I don't want to keep you too much longer. So thank you so much for your time, and I cannot wait to see you again.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, girl, I'm getting ready to go find me a cocktail, okay?
Thanks so much to Cookie Chanel from the house that may be gone but will never be forgotten. If you've already watched episode 2, join me in talking to the next house. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it. But if you haven't, which, like, why? Here's what you have to look forward to this season.
The bitch is back.
Welcome to Legendary.
I really want to see a lot of drama.
Just the right amount of cockiness.
There's coins on the line. Bring it to the floor.
10 new houses will execute the 5 major elements of Vogue.
You kill.
Which house will reign superior? Which house is going home? Here is our guest judge, Tiffany Haddish, Hayden Armani, Adam Lambert out, Demi Lovato, Miss Taraji P. Henson.
Hold your head up right now.
It's time to vote down.
And I'm going to deliver to you.
Head to toe.
Open it.
If you don't come right, you might be packing tonight. They better be legendary.
Make me gag. I want the gag.
Tell us all your thoughts about the departure of House of Chanel over at Legendary Max on Instagram. The Let Out is produced by HBO Max in partnership with Spoke Media. Make sure you stream episodes of Legendary and The Let Out on HBO Max. I'm your host, Mikelle Street, and you can find me at Mikelle Street on Instagram. For Spoke Media, our producer is Ariel Mejia with help from Gibran Mendez, Alicia Force, Brigham Mosley, Janielle Kastner, and myself. Original music and sound design by Evan Arnett. Special thanks to Clay Kim. Executive producers are Aaliyah Tavakolian and Keith Reynolds. See you next time.